Money. We all know what money is, how important it is for everyday life, and of course, how much everyone wants more of it. The more money you have, the more you can buy, thus the more economic value you possess. Today, we explore what money is and how money has transformed over time to what it is today. So David, what is money actually?
Well, money, anything can be money. But what's important is that money is a medium of exchange and it has a set value and can be traded for things of that value. Typically, you've traded your time or a product or service for the money that you've got. And obviously, if you value your time or the product or service that you've sold, then you'll value the money. And the important thing about Hugo is that we help you look after that value. And this is the whole concept behind sort of hashtag Hugo Heroes, is about helping you sort of look after your money.
Now look, nobody invented money. In fact, it naturally occurred by people's desire to want to exchange goods and services for other goods and services, what we call a barter system. But a bartering system, had a number of problems, most notably divisibility. So how many chicken would I have for, let's say, half a cow? Or do I really want a cow or half a cow for a number of chickens when in fact I want a horse? So you can see people really need to actually coincidentally want to have a set of goods or services they want to exchange.
Over time, to smooth the trading process, people began using currencies as mediums. Before banknotes and coins, items like seashells, salt, and spices were used as money. The introduction of money sped up trade and opened up business opportunities. It took thousands of years before money became the way we know it today. When and where did the idea of a medium of exchange first come about?
Quite where money came from is a bit of a debate. Some say China around 770 BCE, but it's more likely to have emerged in Mesopotamia, many centuries earlier in the form of metallic tokens. What is almost certainly true is that money comes from Asia, and money became commonplace in a number of regions between 800 and 500 BCE. We're not going to join the debate, but there are a few notable events. Ever heard the expression as rich as Croesus? He was a Lydian king in what is today West Turkey, where they were the first to use an industrial facility to manufacture coins that could be used as currency. These facilities are what we call mint today.
Around 700 BCE, the Chinese invented paper money. Paper money then and now had a problem with anchoring value. Paper is cheap, and what it represents is often expensive. The incentive to print money by governments remains an issue today. Paper money was an undoubted innovation, but of all the Chinese innovations, this one is a question mark, as it also introduced the world to the first hyperinflation. Over to you, Rita.
Thank you, Joel. Nevertheless, trade spread ideas, and the Italians propagated the use of paper in finance in the 14th century. The Italian banking dynasties that emerged funded the Renaissance era and literally dragged Europe out of the Dark Ages. Further and wider, what would eventually become a global monetary system had begun to take shape. Paper was used more and more widely, particularly as the Renaissance era gave way to the Enlightenment era. But it was always based or anchored into something more concrete, usually gold, and the confidence in the system was really based on the confidence in that currency backing.
It's fair to say that pretty much any time the link between the underlying backing of a currency and the currency was severed or wasn't adequate in some way, then the system of money collapsed. One of the best examples is the end of the monarchy in France. There was a lost war, a financial crisis, a revolution. King had his head cut off, not put on the spike this time, but severed probably. There was government reform, a new money printing, hyperinflation, a reign of terror, and then a civil war. What emerged from that is the understanding that if you want to remain in control as a leader, then you have to look after the money supply. And that's what really created the the conditions for the beginning of the gold standard.
From the 1800s onwards, countries had a self-imposed discipline of gold and restricted money supply. Prices were stable, money was stable, and the Industrial Revolution saw huge advances. But governments, of course, every 30 to 50 years had to meddle, and a war and currency reset would typically happen in lockstep. The end of bimetallism in 1870 gave over to the classic gold standard, which, after the First World War, gave over to the gold exchange standard, and beget the Second World War, the establishment and collapse of the Bretton Woods system. We have a video of that in the link below. The introduction of fiat money came after that, which brings us up to today. Today, we have been on the dollar standard globally for 50 years. It worked for a long time. But the questioning of the current system is becoming increasingly noisy.
As technology advances, so does money. We witnessed two new forms of currency in the modern 21st century: mobile payments and virtual currency. Mobile payments are increasingly diminishing the need for physical money, taking over as the dominant mode of payment. Money can now be digitally transferred to another party anywhere in the world instantaneously. Such mobile platforms have revolutionized the way we use money. Not only do they smoothen the payment process, but also investments. Unlike the old days, Hugo heroes can invest in gold today at the tap of a screen, anytime, anywhere.
Virtual currencies have no physical coinage. The appeal of virtual currencies is that it offers the promise of lower transaction fees than traditional online payment mechanisms. And virtual currencies are operated by a decentralized authority, unlike government-issued currencies.
Isn't it fascinating how money has undergone remarkable transformations to what it is today and how much influence it has over the way societies behave? No matter what form money takes, we all should remember that it is a resource not to be squandered away and that it should be spent wisely, saved up, and grown over time. This is why we at Hugo will help people make smarter spending choices, save for goals sooner, and grow their wealth faster.